All right. Hello, everybody. Welcome to the Looking Both Ways podcast that is spanning the country. Um, I'm here in Hesperia, not that I'm somewhere else, but Pastor Rich is joining us from another planet, um, thanks to technology. And so Pastor Rich, how are you?
I'm doing well. Good to see everybody in the way we say you see everybody on this type of world that we're living in. I'm still in South Carolina, but I head home tomorrow. So long day tomorrow. But yeah, so I'm finishing up my trip, and I'll be ready to go this weekend.
That's awesome. Well, we miss you. It's been a very quiet office. And
That could be
yeah,
taken
so
wrongly.
yeah, well, I know it's a good thing. It's a season coming into a new year. But yeah, I mean, this is kind
Yeah,
of we're still in that phase of everybody kind of being all over the map and stuff like that. So it's
yeah,
been it's been good. We've missed you while you were away, and so excited to get you back here. I don't know if you're
yeah.
excited, but you've been saying it's cold, and it's not.
Oh, yeah. Well, good. Well, I thought we decided. Well, we kind of decided we would kind of go both ways with this. So we'll look back, or I'm kind of doing it my way from me to you, and then we'll do the looking forward, where you go from you to me kind of thing. And so, as I watched the message last week, what I noticed is in and how you delivered the message, you look at the broader context of what it means to be unified, but then unified in the sense of Cephas, Apollos, and everything else. And so, I just really wanted you to kind of camp out on that a little more. And is there anything a little more about what you're trying to say when you say?
I think that's my passion. I've talked to you about this before, but my passion and I feel like my calling is very much outreach and
Hmm.
missions, and I do not believe in the siloed ministry approach, the turf war ministry approach, where it's it's this is ours and that's you, and we kind of silo off. I think there's theological separation, and that's one
Hmm.
thing, and so I really wanted to clarify that sometimes there is a point where we don't involve with certain theological differences, but a lot of times what separates churches from churches, and what causes churches to not even interact. And I think that's that this might be my church planter mindset, but I think for us, if the church, it's kind of the live together, die alone kind of thing, and
Yeah.
like, yes, you can be successful as a church, but man, like, our calling is not just to our immediate area. Our calling for our church is Hesperia, and if you look at even our church, our shirts and stuff that we have online, it says "Pray for Hesperia," not just "Pray
Right.
for Maple." Um, and so um, I don't know. I kind of felt that conviction as I read the passage, realizing that it's talking to Corinth, and so wanting to
Hmm.
go directly. Obviously, there's principles that can be applied, and so we did talk about internally what this looks like.
Hmm.
You can definitely silo, and especially with our church, with the three traditions that we do have, that could be really easy to just, oh, you go do the Spanish thing, and you guys go do the traditional thing, and we'll do the contemporary thing, and
Hmm.
that's very easy. But even just a broader context, if we are about the mission of God, then we should be joined with Christians across the globe. And with technology and everything at our disposal now, we can do that.
Yeah.
Um, and so, yeah, so that's kind of why I took it that direction. I kind of felt like that's what the passage is really talking about. And even if we
Hmm.
don't mean to, I think churches just do this. I think churches just always, like, kind of throw up walls, and they just kind of get into the Living Hope Church mode, and we're going to be Living Hope Church. And I mentioned this story, but I loved, I'll never forget this, but when the church that I attended in Texas, every Sunday that pastor would pray by name for the different churches and different pastors, that their worship services would be blessed. And I just love that regional ministry mindset, because I think the church is clearly much more effective when we're joining hands and serving a greater cause than just what we're doing here in our little building. So yeah.
Yeah. No, I mean, I agree with you. I mean, I'm in the South. I've been in the South for the last 2 weeks. I was in Nashville, and now I'm in Hilton Head, which is southeast South Carolina. For those that don't know where it is, it's right above the Georgia line. And so tribalism. is what we would call it in our world, is uh, is is alive and well. Unfortunately, it kind of fits the world we live in at that point too. And so, and it's even within our own, yeah, even within our own tribe, uh, there is that sense. I mean, you've seen it. You grew up in, in Southern Baptist church yourself. I was saved in Southern Baptist churches. It's even to get Southern Baptist churches to working together is can prove to be within the town can be extremely difficult because for a lot of reasons we don't need to get into those here today. But for that purpose, but Jesus said in John 17:23, it is that he wanted his church to be one. Well, how in the world does that work in our world today? And I think in First Corinthians, as I read it and I was listening to you, I was thinking, it's really about anything that diffuses Christ as the Lord and the primary person is what Paul's is Paul. That's what Paul, and that's what you're saying too. It's about Jesus, no matter what the label is on the church door, and the gospel, and anything that distracts from that or puts Jesus next to. And that passage totally fits celebrity culture. We don't, we try and practice the much broader context ourselves, just because we don't want to do that. I mean, if I mean, Pastor Carlos can do an altar call just as well as I can or you can, and you can baptize, he can baptize, I can baptize. We don't try and operate in that sense because we want the gospel to be primary in what we do, and at least we try to anyway, as best we can, to lead in that direction. And so that it's you can't be one church if everybody's focusing on only one person and that person is not Jesus. The only way we can be unified is if we're all focusing on the gospel and on Jesus, and our ministries work in that direction. So I just thought that was a really good thing, because unity is such a hard thing, and we talk about it a lot. And I think that really helps our church because we talk about it. And since we talk about it, we can deal with it in a manner, instead of waiting for something to come up that quite struggles with that. We openly talk about it. We talk about what we're trying to do. We try and practice it. Nobody says it's perfect. We're constantly tweaking and trying to figure this thing out. So that's kind of the nature of how we do church. But that's one of the reasons we're doing what we're doing here this weekend as well. So
Yeah.
with that.
Well, and I think it's natural, and it's natural to love your family.
Hmm.
We are we are a logo generation, and I'm draped in them. I have
Yeah.
my TCU hat on. I've got my TCU stuff back there on the shelf. I've got my TCU cup, my Western Christian hoodie. We have our. I mean, you've got your Washington Commanders stuff. And
Hmm.
yeah, and I think there is a point where you can be. It's okay to be proud of your family. And I remember my dad saying this to me when we were kind of navigating we were having this conversation of when does a church plant buy a building kind of conversation. My dad and I were just talking about it a few years ago, and he
Hmm.
said, I think it's important for people to have a home. And I think that that's true. I think it is good to have a family that you relate to, right? That you're proud of, like you're proud of your church, just like you're proud of your
Hmm.
family. But it shouldn't separate you. Like it shouldn't be to the point where you're like, but our family's better, And I think that's where that line is in the
Right.
sand of really navigating that carefully. And then obviously knowing where the hills to down. I think that was a big part of the message. That can be applied internally and externally. So whether it's churches relating to other churches, or people in the congregation relating to each other, or even ministries relating to each other, you
Hmm.
have to understand that the middle of the target is not your opinions.
That's right.
The middle of the target is your doctrine. That's what you defend tooth and nail. And then from there, you go conviction and opinion. The problem is we flip that around and we get super passionate about defending our opinions. We get really defensive about our convictions. And then I think part of the reason why we kind of let doctrine lie is just because, well, that's truth. And it's just going to sit there and it's whatever. Um,
Mhm.
and you get a lot of churches that compromise doctrine. And that's where the timeout should be thrown up, when you see certain things happening within churches. And so there is a point where you step in, but
Mhm.
it needs to not be on the color of the carpet or the type of the flooring. It needs to be on the deity of Christ, or
Right.
the purpose of the church, and those kinds of things. So that's where I went with it, and I hope it was fruitful for
Yeah.
everyone. But It this is a church, Pastor Rich, not our church. Every church has stuff they can work on, but this, meaning Corinthians, the Corinthian church, is a church that has no shortage of problems.
Yeah.
That I don't even think they could put a filter on, to really figure that out. So where are you headed, as we continue our Unfiltered Church series?
Well, when we get there, we'll just keep going through there and talking about that. But this weekend, we know with our Koinonia days is our big weekend this weekend, and that's what I really wanted to spend a few moments on today. Is just the idea of this is something new for us. This is something that we've done is move Koinonia nights to Koinonia days, and just really encourage people with that. And I would just want to take a few moments for me because my we're doing two devotionals as part of it. Pastor Carl's going to do something, and then I'm going to do something, and we're going to tie that special offering to it. And so it's a special service, and it's only one service. And I just really want to remind people about that. It's one service at 10 o'clock. So we need to make sure that people know that, whether English or Spanish, and then those who show up at 10 o'clock as well, and remind them of that. But and I'm looking forward to it just because it's we've never done it before, and in a sense of in the morning and what that looks like for us in doing it this way, and just the reminder about it. We'll have nursery and preschool, and but our older kids will be going to church with us, which is fine. We do that during the sabbatical, which will be great and be a part of that as well. And so, and we're using the theme rekindle, and this one is rekindle generosity, and as part of the special offering that we've been talking about for the year, and that starts this. That's the special offering is this weekend as part of that, and so. My message is going to be about focusing on that, and when I say rekindle generosity, I kind of get hesitant with our church because we have a very generous church, but it's just kind of rekindling that and reminding ourselves of that, and really think about and move from that reset year that we had last year, what we talked about, to this rekindle idea. And rekindling generosity is one of the things that we've talked about as a goal, and to get to our and it's a big goal for us. We have a goal of in this offering of around 30,000, about $30,000 to get to the $700,000 budget level that we've decided to go, that we approved in November. And so it's just really getting people to pray about it, and that's really what I want to do. People pray about what you can offer, and to just remind people of basic stewardship of our church. We want to teach generosity, and that's what we teach. And generosity is starts at you want to start by giving. You want to be a cheerful giver, and the tithe is not tithe should be a starting point, not an end point. And just realizing that we want getting to that point would be a great thing for people to work towards, and that you know there's a tithe, that's our what there's what we give, and then this offering is a special offering even beyond that. So it's not like you're giving this offering instead of the tithe. It's like or your normal gift. So your normal giving. It's above and beyond that. And then there's even one beyond that called an alms gift. That's the one you give to somebody that doesn't know about it. You can call that almsgiving if you want to be a King James or King Jamers or something like that. But
Yeah.
and we should all do something like that. And I just really want to remind people about that as we do this offering. And when I talk this Sunday, I'm just going to talk about the fact what this offering's for. This offering's going towards what you just talked about. And that 30,000 is all about reaching people. It's that part of our budget. It's adding to what we've already budgeted to do that, but having more to be able to do that, to do the things we want to do to reach people, and to get out and doing what we need to be doing. Instead of we're not resetting anymore. We've already done that. Now we're moving forward, and let's be generous in going out and funding ourselves to do the things which matter, which are mission and sharing our faith, and mission trips. And like you're getting ready to go on here in a couple months, and you're preparing the kids to go for this summer, all that kind of stuff, even our own in-house stuff, in our town, our Jerusalem, if you will. And that's what it's really for. And I just want to encourage people with that. That's what this is. This is about. It's beyond just asking you to give to me a budget. But this is going towards reaching people. And people have to understand that's what we ask you to give towards. We ask you to give towards ministry, not give towards things like that. We're past that. Now we want to give towards vision and what we believe God is doing in the life of our church. And that's what I really want to encourage people with as we lead into this Sunday, and to be there and be a part. Bring your contribution to the meal afterward. It's brunch, so you can pretty much bring anything you want, just you know, to fit that context, and just to get together as a church family in the morning, as opposed to having to come back. I think the seniors or the 8:30 service will really appreciate it. Um, and to be a part of it and see it as well. And that's one of the things that we want to do. They need to see what else God is doing in the life of our church, and we need to see them. So getting everybody there and involved and plugged in. If you have a seat, you might want to get there to get your seat, because somebody else
Yeah.
probably has that seat in another service.
Oh man, I didn't even think of that. And I love that we're doing this, this whole special giving and all that kind of stuff for the year,
Mhm.
vision offering, as at a service like this, and where we really can see what the church is, because you get a skewed vision every Sunday,
Mhm.
of what our church really is, and how many are involved with our ministry, and even just having an opportunity, to have more of the people that volunteer week in and week out be a part of it as well.
Yeah.
And
And
so I
and
think
and,
it's
and
going to be a really great, a great opportunity, for the church to be the church. But that just that perspective, like, you don't give to the church, you give through the church, and
yep.
through that, God will bless and use um, what is brought in, and we will be blessed and thankful for it. And so,
Yeah.
for if you're listening to this, or if you're, it'll be a heck of a week if you're a visitor. I'll tell you that.
Yeah. But that's cool.
So yep, and you get to kind of see that vision. And again, it's because it could be so easy, especially on a Sunday morning. And I think that's a side blessing of doing this. We've been doing Koinonia nights for, like, what, 3 or 4 years, and shifting
Mhm.
it to the morning, I think, is a huge blessing, just because of the fact that, Sundays for so many people can be so chaotic and busy, and siloed, and we're kind of, passing in the hall and just all this kind of stuff. And what a blessing to have it be on a Sunday morning, where you can start and spend the majority of your day just with everybody, as many people as possible.
With the family, like you said.
Yep, yeah, with the
And
family, and hopefully it's contagious. Hopefully that leads to more things.
yeah.
And yeah, because our church is going to do more. And I was going to mention this too, but yes, we're doing South Africa with Ignite, and the students are going to Colorado again to serve a church plant out there. But we're still doing Engage Hesperia. So that'll be a
Mhm.
church-wide thing on June 13th, where we're hopefully going to have, just like a koinonia, everybody there together serving our community.
Yeah.
Because again, if the church were to go away, would people notice, and why would they notice? And hopefully this Sunday is going to be a good testament to that.
And you just kind of fed into it. Engage the June 13th. We're doing VBS. We still have VBS in July, and and who knows what else. We're hosting that disaster relief team now. I want to talk about that, because that's part of what this is for. We budgeted for giving to missions. That's part of what this is. We're going to have people in the room, because they usually go to church where they're being housed, and they're there because of the cooperative program, because of us being a part of giving to missions. And I think that's really cool. And what people also have to understand is that God supports his mission through the people of his church. Yes, you and I can do our part to try and fundraise and bring in other things, and we do that. I mean, but the primary source for God's fulfilling his mission is his local church and the people who make it up. And that's a stewardship question. That's not a tithing or giving question. That's a stewardship question. And stewardship is a much broader topic than just getting money. That's time, talent, and treasure. And so people have to that's a basic stewardship principle. God supports his mission through his people who come to his church. You can't get around it. That's we all have to understand that and work towards that point, and repent if we need to about thinking differently about that. We try and teach a very holistic way of stewardship in our church. We think about it all that way, because that's what it is. And so we want to, but I really wanted to say that is, like, as we ask this particular part, there's a stewardship of treasure, of course, but there's a stewardship of ministry responsibility, ministry and giftedness that God has given us. There's a ministry of a time to do that in all of those ways. And we should do it cheerfully, and we should do it freely, in the sense of we shouldn't feel like we were slaved in to do it. We don't try and guilt anybody into doing it. I mean, if we did that, we'd be up there every week saying, y'all need to be doing this. Y'all need to be. We don't do that. Maybe we should do more. I don't want to do that. You know what I'm saying? We have to bring it to people's attention, but we can't. Guilting people into doing these things never has long-term fruit. And if they're doing it out of guilt, then they're not doing it cheerfully, and God can't bless it. And we want people to be blessed when their generosity.
Well, I am really looking forward to it. I have so much fun. I mean, from a worship standpoint, we have so much fun
Mm-hmm.
up there, when we get to do these mashup things, um, yeah, just to kind of get to see that on a Sunday morning, it's going to kind of feel weird, in a sense,
Yeah.
of having that on a Sunday morning. But man, and here's another thing too. It is a great opportunity to invite people. So invite your family and
Mm-hmm.
friends to come to this kind of thing. It's a great opportunity that we get to do 4 times a year.
Yep.
And I'm looking forward to it. So, Pastor Rich, from all the way, what is it? Almost 3. It's like 3:30 ish, no,
It
4:30 ish where you are.
it's 4:30. Yeah.
Yep. And we're still we can still say afternoon, not evening, but
Yeah.
thanks for hopping on and talking with us. And if you're
Absolutely. I look
listening,
forward to it.
yeah, and absolutely. And thanks for listening with us. If you're here, joining us, and yeah, we're excited for what we've got this weekend, and where God's taken us as a church, this coming year. So,
Yep.
um,
Amen.
once again, this is the Looking Both Ways podcast. I'm Pastor Tim. He's Pastor Rich, and we look forward to seeing you this weekend.
See you this weekend, everybody.